is going on? Welcome to this week's episode of the 1 Second of Strength podcast. Wherever you are, grateful you're spending these valuable seconds with me. Man, it's been a good week. It's Friday. I issued a compliment challenge for my kids today on the way to school where you just have to genuinely give at least 5 people a compliment. And when you do that, it changes them because they all of a sudden receive this genuine compliment and they are happier as a result, no matter what they're going through. And maybe the bigger thing is it changes you. So today, give 5 people a compliment, see how it changes them, how it changes the face that they have on, like their smile, all the things. It's going to change a lot of things. So anyway, today I'm sitting here. I got my dog, as usual, Putter. He's right by my side. Someday we'll get him to talk on one of these and it'll be great. But today we're going to talk about a really powerful concept. And, you know, in schools, they teach this social emotional learning, and what they're really trying to do is help kids. And this isn't just for schools, but this is like something that we all need in our life when it comes to social emotional learning. But self-management, they talk about self-awareness, social awareness, responsible decision-making, and relationship skills, and all of these things. But what happens today is that I think there is a disconnect between what is actually happening in the world with our kids, with ourselves, with teenagers that I speak with. There's a disconnect between their emotional response and the actual response that they should have in any given situation. And so if you think about this, like the power of growth, the power of moving forward, the power of stepping into your potential and becoming the best version of you. And teenagers, listen to this. If you're a teenager, please, please, please listen to this. The power to become who you can ultimately become relies on the things you do right now today. And what happens if you think of this big filter, right? There is a filter of all of these things that are coming into our lives every single day. There's a stimulus of stuff, and whether that is through media and social media, or it's through other people and relationships or parents, there's all this stuff that is filtering into our brain, right? And into these moments of choice. And a lot of times what happens is that we take these things that have happened to us. Maybe it's something that happens on social media and, you know, we post something and we don't get as many likes, and so we start feeling bad. Or we see someone else post something and we start wondering why we're not as good as them, right? These are things that are filtering into our brain. Or maybe it's a relationship at school and somebody does something to us, says some unkind word, and it impacts us in a crazy way, right? Well, all of these things filter down, and then we have to make a choice. Something happened to me in high school. I've never ever told this story before. I don't think my mom has heard this story, so I know she listens to this podcast. You're going to hear this for the first time, Mom, I think. But I was in a health class, and I was kind of a funny, sarcastic kid, and I said something to a girl, and it wasn't like it was sarcastic, and it wasn't meant to be rude. It wasn't meant to be in any way, right? But I said something that I shouldn't have said, because even though I moved on beyond that moment, like immediately, she harbored a feeling. She harbored something that happened to her. So later on that day, we're at lunch, and her and her friends are different than who I hang out with. And someone tapped me on my shoulder, and it was her boyfriend. And he said, "What'd you say to my girl?" or something like that. I don't know what he said, but he said, "What'd you say to my girl?" And then all of a sudden, like, he brings me into the basketball gym right off of where we're eating lunch. And it's him, me, and his friend, who, by the way, was a defensive lineman on our football team, who, by the way, went on to play at Oklahoma, who, by the way, went into the NFL. So when I say, like, friend, I mean big friend. I mean, like, guy that I'm not going to run away from because I could die, right? So anyway, he said, "What'd you say?" Blah, 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 blah. I tried to, change not change subject, but just like tell him I didn't mean anything bad by it, whatever. And he punched me in the face, chipped my tooth. I told my mom that what chipped my tooth was eating an apple, and I had to get it fixed and all these things. But what really happened is what I got hit in the face by this guy named Jason because of something I said. Well, as we think about social emotional learning, right, and this method of self-management and awareness and social management, relationship skills, is that whatever happens around us, there is this moment where we have to, and this is the power, this is what I hope that you take away from this message today. There is power in the pause. There is power in one moment of waiting, of pausing, of being still so that you can choose the appropriate response to every single situation to move forward. And as you think about that with your self-management, with your self-awareness, with your social awareness, responsible decision-making, relationship skills, all of it will be impacted by the moment of choice, the moment of pause where you get to decide how you're going to move forward. If I was in health class again today, I would have used a little bit more social emotional learning. I would have paused just a second and thought, maybe this comment that is sarcastic, that I don't really mean anything by, maybe this comment is going to be taken the wrong way. Think about that. If you're a middle schooler, if you're a high schooler, if you're mom, a dad, whoever, right? Like there are so many things throughout our day that we could say or that we do say that maybe we shouldn't say or that we should say in a different way or that maybe we should hold back on, right? I think social media is a perfect example of this. We see a post. It triggers us. We comment something negative on the post. Why? Why did we comment that negative thing? There's no real reason why we should be commenting on it, you know? And if you pause for just a second, you pause and then choose your reaction. That is where the power comes in. That's where you begin to shape your life in the way that you want it to be shapen. You want it to go instead of just whatever reactions come, right? I tell every teenager when I go speak in schools, you cannot choose somebody else's actions, but you always get to choose your reaction. And that reaction, the choice of your reaction, is done in the pause. It's in that moment where you use your 1 second of strength and choose the response that is going to help you get the best outcome. And that may mean don't say this dumb sarcastic thing. That may mean don't leave this comment on somebody else's post. That may mean, yep, I'm sorry you cut me off in traffic. I'm going to pause for just 1 second and let it go and recognize that the car I'm driving is extremely dangerous if used incorrectly. What that means is that in a moment, you get to choose the response that is going to help you and honestly help everyone else around you. And what's happening today because of the internet, because we're spending so much time, because we're being triggered, because we're being fed things on social media that are contrary to what we feel or what we believe, we're being triggered. And we're letting reaction come before the choice of how to react. Does that make sense? Does that make sense what we're doing? And so if you want to change your life, if you want to plot out the best version of you, if you want to become and help other people become the best version of them, stop reacting emotionally and start reacting choicefully. That's the only difference. And it happens in the power of the pause. If you want to react choicefully, pause. If something happens to you, pause. If someone sends you an email that bothers you, pause. If somebody says something online, pause. It doesn't matter. Let it go. Let it go. I think Frozen had it right. Just let it go. Because when you do that, you free yourself up to choose the right path forward. So I hope this helps you today. Share this with your teenagers. I think that in the world of social and emotional learning, where we are trying to help our teenagers and help ourselves make these positive choices in our lives, the power of the pause is the way. It's because it takes 1 second of strength. And when you pause and then choose with your 1 second of strength which direction you want to go. And by the way, this works with courage. This works with gratitude. This works with every emotion, fear. It works with everything that you're feeling. Pause and then choose to move forward. Pause and then make that right choice. Pause, recognize your self-awareness, and then do what you need to do to move forward. Pause and then make that responsible decision. Pause and recognize that maybe the thing that you're going to say to this guy's girlfriend is not the right thing to say. And if you do, you might get punched in the mouth like I did. That's what happened to me. Then you might lie to your mom that you chipped your tooth eating an apple, which is not true. So anyway, I hope this episode helps you today. Share it with someone. Share it with your teenagers. Share it with a friend, share it with another mom, share it with somebody, because right now, today, there's somebody who could use this, that could need the power of the pause and recognize that one little moment of choice will change the rest of your life. I hope this helps you. If you could do this real quick, turn this off. We're done with the episode. Turn it off. Go leave a rating and review wherever you're listening to this. It helps me a ton. Subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. It helps me a ton. But I'll leave you the same way I always leave you. Pause first and go find your 1 second of strength and be happy.